time. Okay,
Yeah.
and Ankit, this is basically a role for Walmart SDE3. So in the
Mm-hmm.
SDE3 role, we are properly doing all the automations with respect to Kubernetes, Terraform, AWS, GCP, right? And you are having 4 years of experience, so I'm very much glad you took time. Okay, and this is for supply chain team where you will be predominantly working on production Kubernetes clusters, production CI/CD pipelines, and all those stuff, right? So let's get
Sure.
started. Okay, while taking your interview, I'll not look at you frequently, so you don't worry about that. Uh,
Yeah.
let's start with the interview. So why don't you introduce yourself with some basic things like your background and what are your current roles and responsibilities. I wanted to know like what automations you have worked on, right? And also I wanted to know if you have achieved any awards, rewards, certifications, have you completed anything? And finally, tell me some things which are not there in your resume. Go ahead.
Sure. So first of all, I have 4 years of experience onto DevOps with persistent systems. And in my day-to-day activities, first of all, like the project I'm working on, it's an email marketing application. So it has capability to send out bulk out like millions of emails like Zomato does every morning to us. So it has capabilities like that. So there I'm managing the complete infrastructure using Terraform. It's a microservice based Java application, again, which is deployed over EC2 instances, a fleet of EC2 instances. So there I have to maintain the complete infra, a well-structured CI/CD pipeline. Apart from that, I'm responsible for managing the complete, like if there is any application vulnerabilities, it's part of my day-to-day activities to find and remediate that. A few I have done in my past activities. Apart from that, managing the complete monitoring solutions over Prometheus and Grafana and CloudWatch. Apart from AWS EC2 deployments, I have experience over Kubernetes deployment as well. The CI/CD pipelines we use are include of Jenkins and GitLab CI, which I have used in my past. Uh, Apart from that, if you talk about my achievements, our team was the first runner-up in the global hackathon, which was organized by client. Apart from that, I was 5x GCP certified also, so I have a good background over GCP. But my recent are mostly on AWS only, and yep, that's a lot about me.
Okay, so I asked you two more questions. Tell me about your team and about your some things which are not there in your resume.
Okay, about the team consists more of the support teams and the developer guys. So I am the bridge between every one of them. So there is a DSM where we used to like we maintain the Jira boards. So we take updates from the whole team. If any requirements come from the developers or support team, we have to like work with the cloud engineering team to complete that requirement. And also, at times we have to go on root cause analysis with the support team or any on-call support we have to provide. Uh, and Something which is not in my resume, my hobbies are there. Like I love to go for long drives and musics are a bit of my passion. Like I love playing guitar.
Okay, great. So let's start with your first point itself, scalable, highly available cloud infrastructure. So when I see your resume, I see that AWS and GCP are predominantly there. But when you
Yeah.
said the points, I only understood you are working on EC2. So I wanted to understand the architecture, how you are managing this fleet of bulk email triggers and all, with what architecture you are doing. So can you just give me in 1 minute that complete flow?
Sure. So first of all, it's a microservice based application. So we completely package the microservices into one tarball. And going forward, we are using a set of Packard and Ansible to create the AMIs. And from those AMIs using Terraform, we create the launch template. And going forward for the required clients, we deploy them. So that's how the complete flow goes.
Great. So this is for infra deployments. Now,
Yeah.
how the CI/CD works? Can you tell me like what are the components that you guys are using? Because I see vulnerabilities also you are handling. So AMI, Packer, and Ansible and Terraform stuff I have understood. But what
Yeah.
about your CI/CD? Can you like I want to see a holistic view of what you guys are doing. So end to end, you have to tell me so that I can get a clear picture and I can understand like okay, you have the idea of what you are doing.
Sure. So the project we are working on, it's not completely agile. So whenever the requirement comes, or let's say the developer team is ready, we trigger the Jenkins pipeline, and that's our flow of CI/CD starts. Once the CI/CD pipeline is completed, we get the complete tarball as mentioned, which
Oh,
completes the package. And going forward, we deploy that package onto using the required tools as discussed.
oh, okay. So you
Yeah,
guys are having Jenkins, which is giving you a tarball. So it's kind of a CI pipeline, which gives you
yeah,
out of a tarball, and you guys deploy that tarball via the AMI packer and other stuff.
yes.
Yes. Okay. And you guys are having EC2 as a fleet.
Yeah, like behind auto scaling groups and all.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. So tell me, like, what is the average count that users are using, or what is that structure? Because you are sending, like, you are trying to send emails only with this application, right? So
Yeah.
what does the auto scaling is doing here?
So let's say whenever like let's say every morning Zomato sends us a marketing email or campaign
Correct.
like that or a push
Correct.
notification. So
Correct.
at that times the traffic hugely goes up and any interaction will also increase the traffic flow. So at that time the system needs to be highly scalable. So over that part we have like worked so that auto scaling group automatically scales up the instances as and when required.
So you have two applications here. One is like from that email, some user
Yeah.
is clicking the link. So you are expecting that your auto scaling will be used there.
Yeah, again, we record it, so it's like based on user interaction. So if you interact with that email, we have a reporting dashboard over our application also. You get
Hmm.
the complete reports, how many users were converted, how many users are have not clicked, how many users have bypassed it. So its complete reports are also there.
Okay, and for that reports, the auto scaling group and the all those things are taking care of this.
Yes.
Okay, but tell me, like, the email application. Let's say let's talk
Hmm.
about the email microservice part. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Like, is it also a tarball application, or can I say like it's a Lambda application, something else? Because it's a trigger, right?
Again, it's an application which has to run 24 into 7. So again, Lambda won't be supporting that need for us. So EC2 was the best one. And behind auto scaling group, so when it is not required, it scales down based
Oh,
on the
okay.
metrics.
So you guys are not using any Kubernetes or containers here.
Not in this project, but yeah, I have used Kubernetes in few of my past projects.
Okay, great. So tell me, like, if I have to if I have to ask you, right? Let's
Mhm.
think like this. I want to remove the AMI packer and Ansible part. And with the
Yeah.
Jenkins, whatever the tarball is coming, I want to convert that tarball into the Docker image and then do the Kubernetes deployment. So what are the steps that you are going to do? Let's say I want to revamp your project.
Okay, sure. So re-architecting it using Docker images and Kubernetes, right? So once the tarball is ready, okay, again, we won't be using tarball. Let's say the next step will be we copy all of our code dependencies onto the Docker image. Again, the size will be huge since it's a legacy application. Size
Correct.
might increase. We will be going forward with multi-stage Docker builds. So that will reduce our Docker image size to SN, which when required. And going
Mhm.
forward, we can deploy that onto any of the Kubernetes provided. It can be over AWS or Google Kubernetes Engine.
So you are doing that currently.
No, we haven't done that, but it's my architecting how we can proceed with if we want to re-architect this application.
Oh, so you are telling me that if you want to convert that
Yeah,
tarball, you are telling that you will convert that into a Docker image, then to a
yeah,
container, then deploy onto the Kubernetes, right? So,
yes,
so are you good at Kubernetes files and Docker files? Like, if I have to
yes,
ask you to share screen, if you can write some code for me,
sure.
okay? So check once if you are able to share your screen.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay. Mm, okay, that's fine. I will share my screen.
Sure.
So you just tell me some steps I will be writing on your behalf. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm giving you a first question. So there will be a series of questions from here. Okay. So
Okay.
you just tell me the commands or the things that you will follow from here. Okay. So as we have discussed, we have a CI pipeline and we are getting
Mm-hmm.
a tarball. Correct. Now this tarball, the first question is convert the tarball into the Docker image, right? So what are
Okay.
convert the tarball to Docker image? So what are the steps that you will be writing it here in the Docker file? I just need that.
Sure. So
But
first will be the from. So we
okay.
will use, let's say if it is a Java application, we will use a Java image. S-
Hmm.
And since it's a multi-stage Docker file, So the first stage will be as builder. Let's say I'm taking it as builder. Second stage, we will set up a working directory. And third stage, we will be copying this tarball onto our application. We can use copy or add command. So to copy this tarball to our application. Once done, if any build step is required over here, we will be performing that build. And if not, we'll be continuing it with the second stage of, yeah. We will be continuing with the second
What
stage where we will be copying only the necessary files from here.
from stage 1?
Yeah, from stage 1.
Okay, so
So
from this portion, you will take some necessary files and build your stage
yeah,
2.
again, stage 2 we will pick a lighter image, since using a Java image will increase the size. So a very lighter image will do our work. And we will be copying these artifacts or any necessary files, just the necessary files.
So why
And
you want to take the necessary files? Like what is the use from here? And what are the files? Let's say like, is it a configuration files? How you can conclude that these are my files from the stage 1?
okay, again, if we are taking up a tarball, it's a complete package. We cannot extract the necessary files. But let's say if it was a Node.js application, we will be only taking the
Build.
only the build part
Correct.
and copying it onto the next stage. And further, we will be having the entry point, expose the necessary points, and further these things to like move forward, since this is a final build.
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
see, let's think like this. The tarball size was 100 MB.
Yeah.
Okay. And this Docker file size is 120 MB after the image. So what are
Okay.
the steps you will take? Let's say like I have done the multi-stage, I have done everything. I don't have any, but still the size is more. How you can reduce to, let's say like 100 MB again?
Okay. One thing can be to reduce the number of layers. That will be the first option.
Okay.
So if we are using too
How do
many
you do
done
it?
layers,
How do you do it?
yeah. So if we are using too many done layers, we'll be using and to like run all the configurations in one line, so
Okay.
that it doesn't consume much
Hmm.
layers.
Hmm.
That will be one step.
Hmm.
Uh, Anything I cannot think right now. The second options.
Okay. But
Yeah.
if I have to tell you like from 120 MB, you have to come down to 100 MB, you can try, right?
Yeah, we can try.
Okay. Tell me, let's say like I have converted this into an image. Okay. Now the image
Yeah.
name is Docker 1.0. Now I want to
Okay.
again convert this image into a container, which I already did. Okay. Container name is Docker T 1.0. Now my manager tells that in this container, I have to add a file. Okay. Let's say I added a config file. Now I want
Okay.
to convert this container again to image. So what are the steps you will follow?
Okay. Since this is a running container, first of all,
Correct.
and we want to snapshot it from this point, we will be using the docker commit command.
Okay. So directly you will do
Yeah.
Docker commit on the running container, or what is the steps, the proper steps you follow?
Like inside the Docker container, we don't need to perform any operation after the file has been copied. So
Okay.
coming out of the container should be in running state, first of all, to take
Okay.
up the snapshot.
Are you sure
And
you don't want to stop the container?
no, if we stop it, we lost the container. The container's work is done, it will exit.
Okay.
Yeah, to take a snapshot, the container should be in running state.
Okay.
And on the CLI,
Hmm.
we use the docker commit command to take the snapshot
Hmm.
for that particular running state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Now tell me, let's say after I added this configuration file, that snapshot came to me, I am having a version of Docker image of 2.0.
2.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want to deploy this Docker image as a deployment with replica of 3. Okay. Having
Yeah.
lightness and readiness probe. So can you design that Kubernetes manifest file for me? There are 3 components. One, deployment. I need a replica. I need a liveness and readiness probe. Image name is this. Container name, you can take it anything. So can you, this is a step 2, case 2. The case 1, you are
Yeah.
good. Case 2, you have to tell me like what steps you will follow.
Sure. So writing a Kubernetes deployment file from scratch, first we will have the API version. And then we will be, it can be deployment /v1 or something like that. Next will be the kind. So since it is a deployment, it will be a kind. Third, there will be the metadata, anything we want to pass the metadata like name, so and so, the tagging part. After that, we have the specification file. Yeah, in the spec file, we need to mention like how many desired replicas, the image which should be deployed, uh, and the liveness and readiness probe as you mentioned. These are the core components there will be.
Okay. So let's assume that I rolled out this particular Kubernetes file onto the Kubernetes cluster, but I am
Sure.
seeing that it's in the crash loop back error. So what will you do here?
Okay, again, crash loopback has multiple scenarios. First, we will be checking up the logs, and we will be using the kubectl logs will give us the logs. Kubectl describe will give us the events. So logs and events we need to check, and specifically like it can be a configuration issue. Majorly, if it's a configuration issue, or it doesn't have any required file. Let's say the config file is missing. In that case, it enters the crash loopback. So we need to fix that issue. So we will be getting that from the logs or the events.
Okay, so tell me, like here we have not mentioned any CPU in the memory. So when I'm running up this image 2.0, how much CPU and memory this particular pod will be taking? Any idea? Like a guess? Like how a pod knows it has to take this much CPU and this much memory.
Okay, that is based on the application size and the application, how much it scales up and down. But if we haven't mentioned, it can scale up and up and up. So obviously we need to like mention the request and limits for that deployment.
Okay, so you are telling that you will add the requests and
Request and limit.
limits also. So what is
Yeah.
the difference between like requests and limits? Like both are same?
No, both are different. So request is that you must have, let's say, the application every time needs 512 MB of memory. So it cannot have less than that. So we need to allocate minimum 512. That is the request part. And limits is it is the maximum that the application can consume. Let's say the maximum I want to give it 1 GB. You cannot go more than 1 GB. If you go, you will die. So that's the concept.
Okay, got it. So let's assume that we are going to case 3 where we have an ingress, we have a service, we have a deployment. The same deployment is running successfully and people are able to access it. But my task is I want to make sure the proper alignment of that particular deployment is to the service through the ingress. So how do you design the ingress to talk with service to talk with deployment?
Okay, sure. So again, in Ingress, we have the capability to make it path-based routing. So let's say if it is a /app or /1.
I'm fine. I want the skeleton. Like what will you mention like in the main part?
Okay, so let's say if any application is routing to, let's say the /app, or then it will route to the particular service. And service is again linked with a particular deployment using labels and selectors.
So in the ingress, what kind of components you will use it? So you have to tell me that. Like you told
So
path.
first will be the path.
Yeah, you
First,
will
it
use
will
it.
be a path-based routing. So
Okay.
first will be the path. And second, it will be when the path is targeted, so where it will route. So I think next will be the service name.
But tell me, like I'm looking for these kind of things, the skeleton part. So are
Oh,
you aware?
Ingress I haven't written from scratch, so I'm not aware of the complete thing.
Okay,
But
but
yeah, path-based routing I have
have
done.
you heard
So
about virtual gateway service in ingress?
no, haven't digged it that much.
Okay, so basically in under ingress, you will create a virtual gateway service. This gateway service will talk with your backend and then backend via the labels, whatever you are telling, that will be
Yeah,
talking with you.
labels and selectors.
Okay, good. Now these are like three cases we have completed successfully. Let's assume that the user is coming here, www.heydevops.in. The user is getting the data from the pod. Now, my assumption is the user is getting the data, user is happy, but still I want to scale my application to the extent that maybe let's say like it is able to take a load of 100 million users. As of now, it's taking a load of 50 million. So how do you scale this to bring to this extent? So can you tell me like what components you are thinking in terms of system design?
Surely, for auto scaling, first point comes is horizontal pod auto scaling. So as and when load comes, based on metrics, it will scale up and down. Second point, we need to set up a target metrics. Let's say if it reaches that much metrics, it will be scaling up. So that we mentioned on the HP only, the target CPU or target memory. this kind of thing. So HPA will be the one I will be going forward.
Only HPA you can scale your system from 50 million to 100 million. I'm looking for additional architecture support also, which you can give to my pod.
Okay, HPA scales the pods. Again,
Right.
the node should be also scaling since 100 millions, let's say, or 100 of pod comes up. So
Okay.
that there should be nodes to support this activity. So the node pool should also be scaling. Not only the pod, node pool should also be in a scaling mode.
Okay, so node pools you will create. Now,
Yeah.
I'm good with the Kubernetes cluster. Now, outside the Kubernetes cluster or inside the Kubernetes cluster, do you want to support anything for my scaling capability to maximize?
Cannot recall right now, but yeah.
Okay. But how in your project it is happening? Only auto scaling group it is doing all things for you? There should be some other components also which taking care.
HPA and the node pool auto scaling, these two I can think of. Nothing.
But outside of the Kubernetes cluster, you are not able to think or you didn't work.
No, I didn't work that much.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next step. Okay, now let's assume that my users are able to take the load, the users are happy, but still I want to do extra monitoring on top of the systems which I have. So can you write me a Python code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm happy till now, like we are able to successfully scale to 100 million and everything, but still I
Mm-hmm.
want to do some additional things on the system. So can you write me a Python code to check if the website is up and running and send the user interaction count of the website along with the user purchased count from the database to the email DL? Will you be able to write the Python code?
I will need some time because in such short duration, I don't know the libraries which will be doing this
That's
thing
completely
completely.
fine. Can you
Yeah.
able to divide me the lines, like the pattern? Will you be able to do it? Like how,
Yeah,
what,
I can break it
what
out.
is your, like, tell me the things that came to your mind first. Yeah, I don't want the code. Let's say like, okay, let's say like Ankit has, has the idea to design this, how he can put it on the paper. Let's go ahead.
Sure. So first is to check the website is up and running.
Hmm.
We will be like checking out a path. Let's say slash app or something. We will be checking it on a regular interval. So
Hmm.
with a timeout or time interval, we will be
Hmm.
checking it.
Hmm.
Second thing is send the user interaction count. This has to be fetched from the Kubernetes cluster. So uh,
Why do you think that Kubernetes cluster gives the data?
okay, it can be inside the application logs also. We can
So
fetch
why do
this
you want to
particular
go to
thing.
application logs? You have DNS, you have content delivery network, you have various kinds of things on the UI side itself, right? Still want to go to the application side?
Okay, from load balancers also we can fetch the information like how many users hit this particular URL.
Okay,
So
so
load
you
balancer
can.
hitting can also be one thing.
So
And
what module you will use it here? Let's say for load balancer only, I want to hit and get the data. Any Python module
uh,
you remember?
I cannot recall the Python module right now.
If I have to give you a hint,
Boto 3?
yes. Okay, so you will hit with the help
Yeah.
of Photo 3. Now tell me, like, you got the user interaction. Now I want to have interaction with my database. So let's assume that it's a MySQL database. So how
Mhm.
do you do it? Like any idea, like steps?
No, for the database, I cannot think of it. But let's say once our whole Python code is ready, since we have to get the whole all the information in a regular interval, we will be setting it behind a cron job or attaching a cron job to run this Python script every day at let's say a few interval. Let's say every day at in once in morning, once in evening to get
Hmm.
the particular data or based on the cron job.
Got it, got it.
So this will be
But
the final step.
okay, I'm good. But tell me this now, like being a DevOps and SRE engineer,
Yeah.
what are the components that you can have in database? Username, password, a table selection entry. Are you
Yeah.
selecting the data because I want the purchased count? I will go into the data. So can you think something like this? Okay, username, password I have. I will go into that particular table. I will fetch that data, purchased
Mhm.
count, and I will put it in a email format. And final step is what? Send email is also there, right?
Yeah, send email.
Okay, so tell me, like, after we broke down this, can you divide me into functions like this particular divisions you have done? Can you
Mhm.
go with some functions, like how many functions you will write? Any idea if you can put a little bit more effort?
So basically there are four basic tasks we are doing. So
Good.
four functions will do the work.
Okay. And would you mind to change this four functions into a Python class statements? If you can do it, you will write one class. Under that class, will you be able to put all the four functions? Have you done any such kind of thing, or
No, this is
you
something
have
really
not?
complicated. I just broke it down, but beyond this, I haven't.
Okay, that's good. No
Yeah,
issues. So coming on to your resume, right? So everywhere I see that you told like most of the things are Docker, Kubernetes, 100%, 40%, 80%, Prometheus, Grafana, AWS
yeah,
CloudWatch, 99.99% also you mentioned. So very fascinating about the monitoring and SRE side. And also you mentioned like 1 TB plus code was migrated from SVN to GitLab. So
yeah.
what is that? I wanted to understand. Like, how did you do that? Let's say
Okay.
I have a SVN repository. I have four
Mhm.
files in it. So
Yeah.
that is 100 MB. So what steps you will do for that code to get migrated to the GitLab?
Okay, so there is a tool SVN Git, which is a combination of SVN plus Git. So again, the challenge here was to conserve all the history and all the missing files. Let's say some folders have missing files. Those weren't copied to Git if you use the SVN Git. So these two challenges were there. So again, we just wrote a simple shell script, which was to fetch the data using SVN Git, and further it just pushed to GitLab, creating the particular repository and pushing it the whole thing to there. It was just this simple of a shell script.
And you migrated 1 TB of data to the Git.
Yeah, it's so using this script it ran overnight, so it saved us a lot of time and manual effort. It
You are
did the
sure?
particular for Yeah, I have done it from scratch.
1 TB of data,
Yeah, so it
only with
took us
shell
more
script.
than, yeah, with only shell script.
But tell me, like in the shell script, have you mentioned any processing, or like I'm still fascinated, like how shell script handled that much of data? What do you think? Like you added any code, you remember some lines, you want to share something?
So it wasn't that complicated of a code. I can share it with if required. So there was no credentials, nothing else was required. So we have to just feed the folder names that copy the particular every data from this folder name. URL was dynamic. We use multiple variables, so
Hmm.
that also saved us the time. The GitLab branch names was
Uh-huh.
also variable, so we completely variabilized it. That
But how
uh,
did you pass all the branch names to the shell script?
Okay, so in a file, we just passed all of the files names as
Oh,
list. So that from that it was iterating like it in a for loop, it was taking up the file name,
good,
doing the
good.
operation, deleting the file. So that was saving us also the space. So it
Hmm.
was going on in a particular loop.
Okay, got it. So what
Yeah.
if I have to ask you, can you write the same thing in Python? Will you be able to do it?
Okay.
No, will you be
It
able,
can be done,
it can be
but
done.
yeah, I will need some time to do it, but it can be done.
Okay, great. So tell me, like achievements I'm able to see, like delivered 7+ projects, right?
Yeah.
But in your personal experience, I only see like one project you have mentioned. So which one is correct? 7+ you worked is correct, or the one?
So 7+ were some really short duration projects where I was working with the pre-sales team. So there were some fast-paced deliveries. Again, there was a not that much level of work, but yeah, small scale of work was there as a DevOps engineer.
So why didn't you mention there? Like, because I am curious to know, like when you mentioned as a project, right? I'm
Yeah.
curious to know, Kiar, what have you done? Correct. So you can
Okay.
mention under the delivery 7+ projects, one, two, three, four, some data about that.
Got it.
And tell me, like this 5x GCP certified, I'm very much fascinated. Like, how did you achieve it? First of all, tell me that.
Okay.
How did you
Somewhere
manage
project
the
require.
time? Okay, let's understand. Like, how did you manage the time doing the work? You are doing automations. You are participating into hackathons. You are doing certifications. How was it possible?
Okay. So after the work, I needed to take out some time separately. And on the day of the exam, sometimes I used to take up a leave to like completely focus on the exam and keep my mind free from every stress.
Okay, great. And anyone sponsored your certificates or you?
Company sponsored it.
Great, great. Awesome. Right.
Yeah.
So, Ankit, I am very good with your interview, right?
Yeah.
And it was amazing, right? I'll share my
Yeah.
feedback, okay, and
Sure.
then give an opportunity to others also to discuss, okay? So you are
Sure.
selected for my team, okay? First of all, very confident person you are. I have not written any feedback, but I was just drilling you down. I can go very very deep for you. Like people here cannot imagine also कि यार इसके बाद भी मतलब I can go into if you have given this answer, the next one was already ready for you. Okay, I was
Yeah.
looking at a break point key where Ankit is telling me like he doesn't know, right? So, I mean, if you are able to see everyone I am telling, see, all the things are from batch 11 only. I have not asked any rocket science or anything. Like all the interview questions, everything is there. But yeah, certainly at some point of time, I am inserting some questions which he might also not know, right? So if you have seen, he answered everything properly here and there. That's fine. I can go ahead with that. But still, Ankit, for you to clear the next level of interview,
Yeah.
you have to be strong here. Okay, the
Got it.
only everything is good. I am selecting, no issues. But for my upper people to select you, or the levels of interview, if you are going for Walmart or any kind of company, if you are thinking like my package has to become 2x or 3x, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
have to put efforts in here. You cannot tell me like I didn't got a chance to work. So that's why I told you, let's break down this. You
Got
break
it.
down. Now, the next I told you, give me functions. You said, okay. Then I told you this. Then here you stopped. After this, I asked, you stopped. So I stopped there.
Yeah.
But you should not stop. At least you should tell me that, okay, let's write the code. Some हाथ पैर मारना है वहां पे and tell me the answer. Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So as of now, I am selecting. So first of all, good for that. But for the next round, I am not sure.
Yeah.
That is a proper written feedback. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
If you are doing the batch 11 automations also, you will be able to answer this for me. Okay.
Okay.
Just check. These are things very important. Very, very important. Okay.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm opening the chat for everyone. What do you guys think? How was the interview? Did you learn
Uh,
something? First of
pr-
all, you tell.
Yeah, I just have a few. First question is like, how much database knowledge should a DevOps engineer have?
Good, good, good. See, database is very important. Any database, only in mind, you should remember that login credentials, fetching the data, processing the data, and sending back the data to the some other place. So
Okay.
database knowledge, one database is only important. That is MySQL or PostgreSQL or DynamoDB. Only एक. Go with MySQL because most of the companies are using it, right?
Okay.
And not like deep. If you see one automation with Python, that should be sufficient for you. Okay.